Hilton brings you new ways to stay, with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
Halliday presents, in the red corner, the undisputed, undefeated Weed Whacker Guy. Champion of hurling grass and pollen everywhere. And in the blue corner, the challenger, extra strength Halliday. Eye drops that work all day to prevent the release of histamines that cause itchy allergy eyes. And the winner by knockout is Halliday. Halliday, bring it on.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
From the Fifth Quarter Studio in Madison, Wisconsin, you're listening to High School Hoops with your hosts, Steve Collins and Jake Steger.
All right, welcome to High School Hoops. So if I'm feeling ambitious when I edit this, I'm going to put some applause here because we are on episode 100. Pause. Yay.
Yay.
I didn't think we'd get to 100. So when did we start this? So I have to go back and look. Do you remember what our first episode was?
Well, that's like 100 really clarifies to being almost 2 years old, right?
Yeah, but it says November 2nd. So November 2nd, 2018 was our first episode, and we did 9 to start.
Oh yeah, we did one like almost every day, right?
Yeah, well, we in November 9th, yeah, we had like the first one was picking your team, picking a basketball offense, the importance of being an authentic coach. So we did 9 to launch, and then we started the every week, November 7th, November 14th. So
okay,
we're not at the 2-year anniversary yet.
Just 100 episodes.
100 episodes, though. That's wild. All right, so before we jump into today's, and we got some, so you got to listen because at the end of the episode we're going to talk about a giveaway. A way to win free membership to teachhoops.com, but you got to listen to the end to be able to hear about that. So go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better, because in case you don't win it. I guess if you sign up and then you win it, I'll just either give you your money back or credit you or whatever, but go over and check it out. I just put up a new course for workouts. So basically I set up a website for your team, has workouts, daily stuff, inspiration, motivation, all that kind of stuff. So right now we're at 2 weeks. I'm going to hopefully get that to 4 weeks. So your team will have its own login, all sorts of stuff. It's great. So if you're looking for something for your team to do, that sounds like a good thing to me. They can use it all year round. We'll use it whenever they want. And I will be in contact with you about how involved you want to be with that. So go over and check that out. Also go over and check out Dr. Dish, the #1 shooting machine on the market. I say this in Coach Unplugged too. I can't imagine a better time for a shooting machine. Social distancing shooting machine. They should rename Dr. Dish social distancing. But anyway, so today, what are we going to talk about in episode 100?
Well, it's 100, and we are just going to, as you like to say, brain dump the good and bad of high school basketball.
Yes,
just reflecting on it.
I think it's reflecting on 100 of these. I think what's been nice about this too is, for me, getting to talk to you, once a month is nice, but It's nice to just think about things. That's why I've loved doing this for the last couple of years. It's my easiest podcast in the sense that I only do 1 a week. The other ones I do 5 a week and 2 a week. So
right.
this is my easy one. But it's nice just to kind of start thinking, about specific things. Coach Unplugged tends to be more interviews and some of those deep dives with teachhoops.com members, and Teacher Side Gig talks about, our side gigs. And actually, I think June, I think you went up on June 30th was your Teacher Side Gig interview. Okay. So you'll have to listen to that. But
very cool.
Yeah, very cool. I think so. Anyway, so that's my first reflection. The good and the bad of high school basketball. I think it's kind of like the teaching thing for me. When you reflect back, I think with all this stuff with virtual learning and stuff we were talking about before we came live, I think people are finding out that, high school coaches are missed people. Just like any coach is a missed person in these young people's lives. And I think we were laughing about how people are making really bad decisions with social distancing and playing in these tournaments, which you shouldn't be doing. And again, if you have to stop listening to me, stop listening. I don't care. But the science says you shouldn't be doing that. Unless you're playing outdoors. If you're playing outdoors, I have better feelings about it. I'm still not happy about it, but everything I've read that says that basically it's close quarters for more than 10 minutes. That's when you're going to get sick. If you walk by somebody that has it in the grocery store and they don't cough, you're probably not going to get it because they're not going to talk to you. They're not going to sing at you. They're not going to cough on you. But if you're in close quarters for long periods, the air circulates. Anyway, that's my public service announcement right there. You're welcome. I really want to go back to work. I want to go back to my room. I want to go back to the gym. I want to go back. So social distance. There was a great thing I tweeted that if you want this, and it showed a basketball court, and then it showed you must do this, and I'm holding my hand over. We got to wear a mask. If you want basketball season, we got to get this thing under control. If we don't, we're not going to have a high school basketball season. So all of you that are listening, do your part. One person can change. But anyway, so that's the first thing I think that's one of the good things about high school basketball, I think, is those relationships. We've talked about that a lot, that I think people are missing right now. What do I think the bad of high school basketball is? I think some of the things that we've been dealing with in society, some of the social injustice, some of the defunding of schools, some of those things are bad about high school basketball and urban. And I think, and I'll just say it, I think, there's state associations, and ours included, that are not diverse enough, do not have people of color on their boards, do not have people of color running around executive committees. They need to. And so if the WIA is listening to this podcast, which I think the probability of that is 0, then you need to either move out of Stevens Point, or you need to hire more people of color. And you need to put them on all your boards, all the way down to the sports advisory, all the way to the, executive board, all the way to the basketball advisory, all the way to the executive board. You need to start hiring people of color. And my advice to you would be move out of Stevens Point. Because, from someone that lived in Wausau, if you're going to, anyway, that's my public service announcement number 2 on this podcast. But I'm just saying it as it's real. So I think that's one of the negative things. I think the negatives of basketball, high school basketball, is they're underfunded. AAU is overfunded. And I think that's a problem. I think we also worry about, I think high school basketball coaches and administrators and people worry about things. It's okay that some people don't have shot clock. It's okay that some people do have the shot clock. All of those things are okay as far as, moving forward. But what's your thought? What's your thoughts on?
I would say the good to me has always been, and I don't think this will ever change, is the ultimate opportunity to help mold and shape young people.
Right. It's why you and I teach. Exactly.
I just got a text from a kid, one of my players. He said we had one time a bunch of our kids thought it would be really funny to Am I still on?
Yeah, you're on. I'm listening.
Okay. Sorry, we don't edit out, so something.
Well, that will stay. Yeah,
that will stay. Okay. I got a text. I just want to share this with you. This is where the good is. Remember the time we put fake tattoos on our face and you got really pissed? LOL. Good times. Missed those days during a game. And the worst part was senior night. And
no, I would have been picked.
I was freaking out. And suddenly the district administrator walks into the gym too, like the head of the whole district. And so like I made all the kids go in the locker room. I went in the locker room and I saw them have all these fake tattoos on their face for senior night. And like I had to take like hard rags of stuff and like help scrape their faces off. And like, it was like ridiculous. So that was,
did you win? Did you win?
Yes, that's the whole point, dude. We were playing Columbus. It was senior night. We were down by 13, and it was like third quarter, and we came back at 1. It was a great game. It was a big win. And I have so many. We had fat heads that night. The gym was well decorated. So it's that whole streamline. I think that's what I love so much about high school basketball. And I think that's the really good in it. But the problem is that those moments are continuing to be diminished because of the bad things that I think that are happening in our sport.
Yeah.
Number one, I think that we gear our sport to the 1% to 2% of players instead of the 98%.
Shot clock.
Right.
Yes.
So, and I think that's the way that we run our country, right? We run our country based on what are the needs of the 1% and 2%. And that's stupid, and it's not fair. It's not equitable. And we should be making decisions and doing things around the game that really affects the 98%. Because the 2%, 1%, they're going to get what they need to get on their own. You know, they don't need all these people to overly expose them. And that's where my big issue is with the game, is that everything now is a decision of we got to make sure that we're coddling the 1% and 2%. And that is, you know, for people, I coach in a rural district, and I know you have pretty high numbers, but like a lot of rural communities and coaches out there that teach in smaller, they're just worried about getting numbers now, right. And I need an athlete to staff my starting 5. Like back in the day, that was never a problem. You could
right.
get kids to do that. Like, and so I think my biggest issue with the whole sport right now is how can we get back to focusing on the 98% instead of the 2% all the time?
Oh, that's true. I never thought of that. Yes. I 100% agree. I think focus has been lost, and we'll talk about shot clock and some other things later this month. But yeah, I mean, do what's good for the kids. But it's like
players too. It used to be about going to see the good teams at the state tournament, right?
Right.
Now it's about seeing the elite players. Okay.
Right.
When you go to a showcase, it's not about let's see the best team in the state,
Right.
I mean, it wasn't when I was in high school, and you were around some really good high school teams when you had your Madison teams. Like my dad took me down to Rufus King High School, and it was 2003, and they were playing La Follette. It wasn't about going to see Michael Flowers. It was about seeing 2 of the best teams in the state playing in their gym. Like that was amazing.
Those are good. Our La Follette Memorial games in those era. Oh my God.
And the King teams, there was, oh my God. I mean, that's the good part about it, because there were so many good players.
Right.
And we're not even talking. You had the Flower, you had Quincy Henderson, they had the Henderson kid. I mean, those are the teams, dude. Those teams were built. The Vincent teams, they had so many good players.
Good players.
It wasn't just one player.
No,
I know you
look at my teams.
Yeah.
Like
you often talk about Wes's team, but damn, you had some really good players around Wes.
Oh
dude.
Yeah, I have 3 Mr. Bass. Everybody, I hope you're enjoying episode 100 of High School Hoops. Make sure you stick around for the giveaway at the end. It's going to be a great one that you can earn a free subscription to teachhoops.com. Also, we would love if you left a review. Those are great. Those help us a lot. Yeah, go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. We ask our players to improve. You want to improve too. All right, let's head back to the podcast. I have 3 Mr. Basketballs around Wesley.
So
yes.
That's when that I felt like the game is not as good as it used to be. The teams aren't as good. And
God, you're sounding old, Coach, man. Get off my porch. Get off my porch.
No, I'm not getting to that point. But I just think that that's why I fell in love with the game.
Right.
Was the great teams, the crowds. I think about You guys in the crowd, your crowd, the Madison Memorial crowd had like the best roller coaster back in the day at the state tournament, dude. I love that. Like, you know what I'm talking about. You guys,
we did.
Oh my God, your fan base, it was crazy.
It was crazy good.
It was amazing. Like, it doesn't get any better than that. Like,
and I'm convinced rules were changed because of us. I'm convinced. People didn't want us to keep winning. Yeah, people didn't want us, which is cool.
Absolutely.
All cool, man. All cool.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's the same reason there's not 8 Division I teams at the state tournament anymore.
Correct.
Because they didn't want the kids of color to come to the state tournament anymore. I'm just going to say what I think.
Well, a lot of times
Yeah.
Anyway. But again.
Hashtag WIA.
Again, but making that everything has been made the last 20 years for that 1% to 2%. And look what's happened to the game.
Yep.
When you first started your coaching career and I was still in high school, the game was all about the 98% of players. And the game was making decisions about the better of the sport, and then you had the 1% to 2% that were part of those teams, and the sport was just great. It was awesome.
Well, it's like AAU. If we take a side, if we birdwalk for a second, it's like AAU. Literally, the college coaches are looking at 1% of those players. The rest of them are just writing a check to the AAU coaches.
Yes,
that's all they're doing, people.
Yes,
don't let them fool you.
The AAU circuit now is just the high school is running like the AAU circuit. It's about the 1% to 2%.
Yep, it is.
Look at all the websites. You know,
it's about my ranking. It's about
my
what
ranking.
I'm like.
It's about my stats. It's about conferences now require coaches. When I was in my conference, I was required by my conference to input my stats.
Right.
You know. Why? So we can overly expose kids to make the 1% to 2% happy. Blah 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 blah. And guess what? Our 1% to 2% best players don't even go to our schools anymore.
Right. I know.
So,
it's crazy too. And most of them are going to end up at a D3 school too.
Right.
Or get a 30% scholarship at a D2 school. So it's like you're spending all this money, which is great. If you want to do it and it's a family thing and your kid likes it and it maybe helps them a little, but that's great. Yeah. So I think that's a downfall. I think the NCAA is trying to shift that back to the high school. So I think that's a good thing. But right now, horrible thing about high school. You know, I think a thing that we have to, the ability to get officials is an issue. Is a problem because the officials are retiring and we're not supplementing with new ones.
Big time.
And it's one of my worries moving into the COVID year is there will be some officials that don't officiate. They won't want to sit in a gym. I mean, I guess if there's no fans, it will be a little different. But I don't know, safety wise, will they wear a mask and officiate?
But again, a lot of state associations are allowing kids to do workouts in their gyms and everything like that. But why?
Right.
For the 1% to 2%.
Right.
And the money. It's not about the 98%, the health, the interests of people. That's my whole issue. High school sports was just an option for kids to better themselves with their friends and to enjoy and be bigger and part of something. And now
that's a pro to high school hoops. It's about friendships. It's about relationships. I'm as competitive as this person's over, but that's what it's supposed to be about. So that's a con right now because it's moved away from that. It's trickled down from the NBA to the NCAA to high school. And then it's going to the youth at this point. It's like it's a trickle down effect. That's a con. That's what I don't like about it. One of the reasons I didn't leave is high school is pure. It's becoming less pure with time. And maybe this will reset it. Maybe what's happened will reset it. I don't know. Time will tell.
I just think it's a time at this point and everything. It's a time to transform many different things.
I do.
Whether what we do in Washington, whether we do in our high school sports and education, this is the best time for change. But
I agree. What else? Anything else?
I don't know. It's always, in my opinion, when it comes down to high school basketball and you're coaching, it's about also the love to win. I love being competitive.
Right.
I think that's the reason why we keep doing these things and being involved.
Right.
And I don't know. If you don't want to go out and win, then I think it's time to do something else. So
right. If you're not giving it everything you have, then why are you doing it? That's kind of my theory, is like, as soon as the competitive drive is gone from me, I'm out of here. Yeah, I've said that a billion times. All right, so 100th episode, 6 months free. You can win 6 months free for a membership of teachhoops.com. If you're already a member and you want to do this, I'll just add 6 months or credit you 6 months.
Awesome opportunity, teachhoops.com.
So here's how you can do it. Hashtag HSH, so high school hoops 100. So home sweet home is what HSH means. I looked it up in the Urban Dictionary to make sure I wasn't offending anybody. So HSH is home sweet home. But you're going to put hashtag HSH100. You can do it on Instagram. You can do it on Twitter. You can do it on our Facebook group. I'll put all those down below. You can do it on TikTok if you're on TikTok. Good for you if you're on TikTok. But all of those. Also, so those are each worth one entry. If you leave a review for either Coach Unplugged, High School Hoops, or Teacher Side Gig, and put hashtag HSH100 in the review and write out a review, I'll give you 5 entries. So a review is worth 5 entries.
When are these entries due, Coach?
Okay,
Collns?
so today is the July 15th. You have a week. So July 22nd is when it will shut. We'll say 11:59 p.m. Central Time.
I will be sleeping. But
I won't be.
No.
Central Time on the 22nd of July is when that will close. So again, hashtag HSH. I'll put all this in the show notes. 100. You can do it on Instagram. You can do it on Twitter. You can do it on Facebook group. In our Facebook group, you can do it TikTok and or a review. I'll take all those. I am a stats teacher. I'll put them in a nice little spreadsheet. Poof, 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 poof. And then we'll announce the winner. I'll let the winner know before this, but we'll announce the winner sometime in August when I get back from fishing. Hopefully I'm fishing at the beginning of August. So we'll let them know. So
full time out today?
Oh yes, full time out. I wanted to get this in so I didn't forget about it. But
yeah. Do you agree or disagree with the NBA starting up?
I'm waving at your little guy in the back. It's funny. It's cute.
Hey buddy.
Say wave. We don't edit. So what's your son's name?
Jay.
Jay?
Yeah.
Jay?
Yep.
Okay, that's a great name. I didn't know if you were like Prince, where it was just Jay.
No,
okay.
Come on.
I didn't think that was the case, but I wasn't going to do it. What do I think about the NBA? I was all for it about a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
And I'm a little.
I saw a couple posts that you were pretty excited on.
Pretty
Facebook.
excited because it's putting basketball and Disney, my two loves, together.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm not going to be going to Disney anytime soon. I think it can be done. Here's the issue. I think it can be done if they do it right and they quarantine them right and they test and trace. And from what I understand, the NBA guys are going to be wearing rings so they'll know where they are. So they can trace them, and they're going to like close one of the golf courses down for them and do some other stuff. And they've moved them. I think it's the Grand Floridian, the new hotel. I forgot what the new hotel is, and the Boardwalk. So all of them have big convention places where they can put them in. They can actually put a basketball court in the convention area, and not even send them to Wide World of Sport. They've thought through this because obviously ESPN and ABC, Disney owns them.
Yeah.
So I personally want them to do it because I think the Bucks could win it.
Me too. But there's that point of again, I'm afraid of is that people are going to associations in the high school world are going to think that since the NBA is doing it, we can start doing it.
Oh yeah,
too.
college football ain't happening, people. There's no way college football is happening. I mean, if it does, you'll be playing. If you know anything about, I'm in Wisconsin and Madison, UW-Madison, 80,000 people, Camp Randall, where they play the football. If they play it, it will be the two teams.
Right.
And maybe 10,000 people because you could social distance them. Like you get this row, then they have a row empty, then you get a row. Wow. But I hope it happens. I do hope it happens. I hope everyone's safe. I hope they do it.
Yeah, me too. I think it's good for us.
And I know some of these top NBA guys can talk all the smack they want. They're generationally wealthy. there's guys in there that, again, I'm not saying any NBA guy, but there's guys in there in 10-day contracts. There are guys there that are supporting many families. They're not, I get it. Most of them are a lot of them are millionaires, but some of them are not. And I think that assumption is they're all going to be okay. Well, they have a lot of expenses too. And again, not making
But I also think about the working class people or the working people that work for these organizations, like
the
they
manager,
need to develop,
the trainer, the equipment manager,
right? But they like people that work in the organization itself, and say they're in marketing stuff. They need revenue to keep their jobs.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, like, I think about them in retrospect too. But like, I am just, the only concern I have is that we often take our top organization in athletics and we try to replicate it on the way down.
Yes.
And that's not going to be the case. We don't have that luxury. We don't have that science behind it. We don't have lead scientists and engineers and things like that making those decisions.
Here's my hope is every day we get a day closer to a vaccine. Every day,
yes,
deaths are going down because they're figuring out steroids are working.
Right.
So if we can make this thing, if we can make it to spring, then things I think are going to be better. That's why I was telling you that my son applied for that gap year, because I think he's thinking a couple things. He's thinking he can get stronger, he become a better basketball player, and maybe have a chance to make the team. But he's also thinking, I want a college experience.
Exactly.
All of those things aren't going to necessarily happen.
And you've been adult for a while. That life isn't always from A to B, right?
No,
it doesn't,
no.
And
it's
so
a good pivot.
It's a good pivot for Drew. It's a good pivot for people to make that adjustment and learn. Wow, not everything is peaches and creams. Like, it's not A B. Well, I go to high school, I go to college, I get my ideal job. That's not how life.
He's going to work on it. He's going to work on his shoebroker.net website. He's going to work on that. He's going to work on. He could
be the Steve Jobs of shoes.
He could be. I mean, the thing is, here's what his mom and I said: you have to the end of July to come up with a plan. It needs to be month by month.
Yep.
What are you going to do? And maybe it changes. It probably is going to change, but maybe you want to use the spring to travel. Maybe you want to, like, things will probably be dying down. Like, how do you want to spend the next, year and a half between now and when you go back?
He'll grow from it. It'll be
good. It'll be good.
Yeah.
Boys don't tend to mature as fast either. So
we know that. We're still struggling with that.
I know. Ain't that crazy? All right. Till next week.
Yeah, all right,
all right.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.